Virgo, something broke open, not cracked, not slowly gave way under accumulated pressure the way things usually give way when they have been held too long against their nature. Broke open, cleanly, completely, in the specific way of something that has been building toward this moment with such internal momentum that when the moment finally arrived, the release was not a choice so much as an inevitability. Something in someone broke open, and it was about you. I have read for a lot of signs, a lot of situations, a lot of different qualities of human feeling moving toward a lot of different people in a lot of different configurations. And I want to say something to you that I do not say casually, that I do not use as a device to make a reading feel significant, that I am saying because the energy in front of me right now is genuinely, specifically, unmistakably extraordinary. I have not seen this before, not in this form, not with this intensity, not with this quality of completeness, of a feeling that occupies every available layer of a person's experience without remainder, without the part of them that is held back, without the usual gap between what someone feels and the full unedited version of what they feel that most people maintain as a matter of basic self-protection. This person is not maintaining that gap anymore. It closed, and what is on the other side of its closing is a love so total, so specific, so entirely oriented toward you that looking at it directly is like looking at something that generates its own light. The first image comes through and it arrives with a force I was not prepared for. I see a dam, enormous, built over time, with intention, with the specific engineering of someone who understood that what was being held back was powerful, and that powerful things require serious containment. Every plank of this dam placed carefully, every seal checked, every potential weakness identified and reinforced. The whole structure a testament to how seriously this person took the project of holding this feeling in before it was ready, before they were ready, before the moment was right. And now the dam is gone, not breached, not overflowed, gone, as if it simply ceased to be relevant. As if the feeling it was built to contain grew so far beyond what any structure could hold that the structure became irrelevant before it was defeated. As if the love said, quietly and finally and with complete authority, I am not something that can be damned. And the dam agreed and stepped aside. What is moving now is everything that was held, everything that accumulated behind that structure over all the time this person spent being careful, being measured, being strategic about when and how and whether to release what they felt, all of it in motion, in the particular unstoppable way of water that has been waiting and is no longer waiting. Moving toward you, I want to talk about done holding back, because those three words are the center of this reading and they deserve to be fully unpacked. Done is not a mood. Done is not a decision made in an emotional moment that will look different in the morning when the practical considerations reassert themselves. Done is a permanent relocation of position. Done is the word that belongs to the moment after someone has run the full calculation, one final time, of what holding back is costing versus what it is protecting. and arrived at the conclusion that the cost has definitively, irrevocably, without room for further revision, exceeded the protection. This person ran that calculation. They have been running it in various forms for longer than you probably know, each time arriving at a result that said not yet, that said the conditions are not right, that said there is still something to protect that outweighs what is being lost in the holding, that said wait, and then something happened, and the calculation produced a different result. Not slightly different, not a marginal shift in the numbers that tipped a close decision in a new direction, a completely different result. A result so unambiguous that running the calculation again would be absurd. A result that said, with absolute clarity, that there is no version of continued holding back that makes sense, that the only coherent direction is forward, that the only honest position is the full one, that everything else is a story that has stopped being believable. Done. I need to describe what triggered this because it was something specific, and I want to try to name the quality of it even if I cannot name the exact form it took, because the quality is what matters. Something showed them what they were risking by continuing to hold. Not in the abstract, not in the general way of knowing that holding feelings indefinitely is unsustainable. In the specific, sharp, briefly unbearable way of actually, viscerally confronting the possibility of a world in which they had held this forever, and you had moved into a life that did not include the knowledge of what they felt, a world in which they never said it, and you never knew. That world appeared to them in some form. A thought that arrived without invitation, or a development in the circumstances that made the possibility suddenly real rather than theoretical, or a moment of clarity in a quiet hour when the usual noise was absent and the actual truth of the situation was unavoidable. Whatever the specific form, the content was the same. The cost of silence became real to them, and it was intolerable. More intolerable than any version of saying the true thing. More intolerable than the vulnerability of full exposure. More intolerable than the risk of whatever might happen when the holding back ends and the reality of what they feel enters the shared space between you. The silence became the more frightening thing, and that is when done happened. I see a second image now, and it has a quality that is completely new in this series. I see someone moving toward something with their whole body, not metaphorically, in the physical sense of every part of them oriented in the same direction. No part turned aside, no part hedging, no part of the body doing something different from what the intention is doing. The full commitment of a physical being moving toward a specific destination without the slight pulling back that accompanies movement undertaken with any residual ambivalence. This is what done looks like in a body. No residual ambivalence. Every part pointing the same way toward you. With the specific and grounded certainty of someone who has resolved something at such a deep level that the resolution has traveled all the way from the interior decision through the layers of the self and arrived in the body as a quality of movement that is unmistakable to anyone paying attention. They are coming, not eventually, not when conditions improve further, not when they have prepared one more time or found one more reason to feel certain. They are already in motion. The decision is behind them and the movement is happening, and the only remaining question is not whether, but when and in what form the full expression of this love finds its way to you. Tell me in the comments whether you can feel this approaching, because love of this magnitude, moving with this lack of ambivalence, generates something in the field between two people that is perceivable even before it becomes visible. A quality of something incoming. A sense that the atmosphere around a particular connection is different from how it was. That something in a specific direction has shifted in a way you cannot fully account for with the available external evidence. Have you felt it? Not what you think about it, what you feel in the body, in that precognitive register where information arrives before interpretation. Tell me if something has been different lately in a particular direction. I want to know how specifically this is landing for you. Now I want to speak about the divine intervention, because it is present in this reading in a way that is more than rhetorical, more than the general sense in which spiritual content invokes the divine as atmosphere. There is something genuinely larger than the personal at work in this situation, and I want to describe it as clearly as I can. What I sense is a series of arrangements, circumstances that have been quietly and without announcement arranging themselves in ways that make the convergence between you and this person more likely. Not forced, not in the heavy-handed way of something imposed from outside a situation's natural logic. In the lighter, more elegant way of a current that does not push, but creates conditions in which movement in a particular direction becomes the path of least resistance. Small things, the timing of certain encounters, the way a piece of information arrived exactly when it needed to arrive to produce a specific shift in understanding, the particular sequence in which events have unfolded that, when viewed from a certain angle, has a quality of deliberateness that is difficult to attribute entirely to coincidence. Something has been organizing this, not your effort alone, not this person's effort alone, something that operates in the space where two people's energy intersects, and that has been working in its own unhurried and unconcerned with your timeline way toward a convergence that it has apparently decided is appropriate, decided and begun to implement. The divine intervention is not dramatic. It looks like ordinary life arranging itself in quietly extraordinary ways. But if you look at the sequence of what has been happening, if you map the developments and the timing and the specific form that certain things have taken, the pattern is not random. I want to speak to something now that I have not addressed in quite this way in any previous reading. The love this person has for you is not about who you could become. This is significant, and I want you to hear it precisely. So much of what passes for love, particularly in its early and most intense forms, is actually love of potential. Love of the version of someone that the feeling projects onto the person who is actually there. Love that is as much about the lover's needs and the lover's imagination as it is about the actual specific person standing in front of them. This is not that. What this person loves is what is already there, what you have already made of yourself, what you already carry, the specific and existing and already fully formed quality of who you are in this moment without any projection of what you might become or any dependency on you developing in directions they have decided would make you more lovable. They have looked at what is there, and what is there is the thing they love completely, without the need for amendment. This is the rarest form. To be loved not as a potential, but as an actuality. To be someone's destination rather than someone's direction. To be the specific and already existing thing that another person's feeling has landed on without reservation and without the conditions that most love, even genuine love, tends to carry. You are this person's destination, and they are done moving in any direction that is not toward it. The third image comes through now, and it has a quality of luminosity that has been building behind everything else in this reading since the first word. I see a butterfly, and I want to be very precise about this image because butterflies appear in spiritual content so frequently that they risk losing their meaning. So let me describe specifically what I see rather than what the symbol is generally understood to represent. I see the moment of emergence, not the flight, not the beautiful, fully realized creature moving through open air. The moment just before that, the moment of breaking through the last resistance of the chrysalis, the final effort that is also paradoxically the easiest effort, because by the point of emergence, everything that needed to happen internally has already happened. The form is complete. The wings are ready. The only remaining thing is the breaking through of the last thin layer of what was serving as a container while the interior transformation was occurring. That moment is where this person is. The internal transformation is complete. The feeling is fully formed, has been fully formed for longer than they showed. The decision is made. The understanding of what this love is and what it requires and what they are willing to do in service of it has arrived at full clarity. Everything that needed to happen inside before the outside could change has happened. The only remaining thing is the emergence, the breaking through of the last layer of held backness. And it is happening. The wings are already there. The air is already waiting. And the light that will exist in the world the moment this person breaks through and moves toward you with the full unobstructed force of what they feel, it is the kind of light that changes the quality of everything it touches, including, Virgo, everything it touches in you. I want to close by saying something that has been building in me since the beginning of this reading. You deserve this. Not as consolation, not as the thing you say to someone who has been waiting a long time and deserves some reassurance that the waiting was not in vain, as a statement of straightforward accuracy about the relationship between what you are and what is moving toward you. You deserve a love that breaks its own dam to reach you. You deserve a love so complete it has no residual ambivalence in the body of the person carrying it. You deserve a love that has been worked out at depth in the private hours, in the honest interior, in the full reckoning with what it means and what it costs and what it asks, and that arrives on the other side of all that reckoning, still entirely, absolutely, without revision, oriented toward you. You deserve the divine intervention. The series of quiet arrangements that something larger than personal effort has been making on behalf of a convergence that has been determined somewhere above the level of individual decision to be right. You deserve someone who is done holding back, done waiting for perfect conditions, done running calculations that keep arriving at the same result, done with every version of caution that was really a version of being not quite willing to risk the full truth of what they feel. Done moving toward you without the dam, with the wings, with all of it. All of it, Virgo. Finally and completely yours.